this is Cathynan Herbal ABC, and I'm Cathynan. I'm called that because that's what my oldest grandson likes to call me, which is relevant because this series, this ABC that I'm going to be doing, is because I'm putting a book together for a little legacy to my grandchildren. They've all learned a little bit, whether they wanted to or not, about herbs with their nanny, and actually have shown quite a lot of interest, and it's lovely to be able to pass on my little bit of knowledge. And that's what this is also about, is that I have got quite a lot of knowledge put together now, and I don't want it to go nowhere. So yeah, I'm making the book for my grandkids and sticking this out on YouTube, and we'll see what happens to it. Yeah, it's about sharing my love of herbs and my faith in some of the remedies that we'll be talking about. And it's a two-way thing. So please feel free to comment constructive criticism where you think that maybe I've got something wrong, want to talk about it, it's fine. And also any ideas extending our communal knowledge about each herb. And I've chosen this format, quite a simple format, so that I stay on track, because I will veer off all over the place. Quite passionate about my subject, and I can always think of something to say. So what I'm going to do is, it's going to not be, if anything, fast-paced about this whatsoever. The technology, although I'm getting some excellent help elsewhere, my knowledge, I hope, will improve during the series. Yeah, so please don't expect anything too flashy. It's not going to happen. Okay, so the format that I've taken is this. So first, every time I will tell you the herb and its name, and also any Latin names or traditional folk names, whatever that I know of. Especially as some of the folk names tell us 10 times more than the Latin names do. Well, that's not true. I mean, if your knowledge of Latin is there, of course Latin names tell you something, but the folk names tell you something that's really inherent in our history, and it's a lovely way to learn about the herbs, is to learn why they're called what they're called. Then the first thing I'll go into every time after the name is the cautions. So I will say, to start with, if you have anything serious wrong with you, of course consult a professional practitioner. My main philosophy about all these herbs is that if you keep gently looking after yourself every day, then the likelihood of you falling for some of the more serious diseases is lessened. And also, if you do fall, then your recovery time is, I think, quickened, made faster. And the whole process becomes a little bit easier. I've seen my friends drop, and my system is such that I can kind of get anything and it doesn't hit me too hard. I mean, if, you know, I could get berry and die tomorrow, and that would make me sound like a hypocrite. But on a general level, my health is pretty good, especially for my age, and I'm on no pharmaceuticals whatsoever. Okay, I will own up to the odd ibuprofen, and I've had a very rough winter, which I'll tell you more about because it is again relevant because of the herbs that I use to look after myself. And that's what this is all about as well, really, is we can look after ourselves. We don't need to go running to the doctor for everything. We were taught that we should. But now, as most of you realise, these things are letting us down. And also the pharmaceuticals that are used, quite often the side effects are far worse than the original problem. So I've got a million reasons why I respect herbs so much. I'm going to stop now because if I do it too long, the technology doesn't like it. So I'm going to come back in a second. So this is the second part of my general introduction to Cathynan Herbal ABC. After the cautions, we'll go through the cautions quickly first. So I will go through these cautions at the beginning of every herb that I talk about, primarily just to get it over with, so that we can get on to all the good stuff. And also, if you are in the category of people that this herb wouldn't be particularly good for, you can switch off if you want to. So I'll tell you straight up. I mean, the most sensitive people usually with the herbs are pregnant women, and I will always tell you if it's slightly dangerous for a pregnant women to be using each herb. And apart from that, most of the herbs I use are not dangerous. They will be dangerous to some people just about the same way as almost anything else is. If that's the case, I will tell you. Okay, so then I'll go on to the actions of each herb and their medicinal uses and what they can help prevent and sometimes cure. Quite simple, but it'll take some explaining for each herb. Then we'll go on to preparation, and the preparation that I'm using mainly is the preparations that I use, and because my lifestyle is quite hectic usually, these preparations take no time at all, and they take no great medicinal knowledge. Quite often teas, sometimes an ointment, sometimes a tincture, nothing very complicated. This will change. I've only had my most recent gardens a few years. And as, of course, they grow more mature, I have more herbs to harvest. And so my ambitions on how to use those herbs are going to change. Basically pretty basic preparation. And now the recognition of each herb. So the herbs I'm using are all either easy to grow, easy to find, or very cheap to buy in this country. This was my premise when I first started collating 5 years ago. Started to collate the knowledge I got from the course that I did, which covered everything, Ayurvedic and Chinese, which is all wonderful. And I can certainly chat about that sort of thing. But I wanted this first alphabet anyway to be totally about stuff that you can do yourself and that involve very little money. Mainly because I learned about herbs because I was a single mum of 3 kids, because the doctors was a long way away, because I had become disillusioned completely with the pharmaceutical industry, especially in the face of what the treatments they were trying to give me for my children. And that was when I genned up and started looking at alternatives, as did many, 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 many of us. I certainly wasn't alone. But I've kept at it. And being quite extreme in nature, I wanted to delve into exactly how we could look after ourselves. And I'm kind of spent the rest of my life doing that, really, more or less. So after recognition, which will help you with planting, but also, of course, foraging, we'll go on to how to grow these herbs, most of which I will have some experience of. I've been a gardener quite a lot in my life. And again, most of them are going to be pretty easy to grow because they're largely native plants, because that's my premise in doing this. After that, I go to permaculture. This is a subject that's very dear to my heart, and we will be going into why every plant that we look at is not only good for us, but it's also good for the soil and the environment in general, and the wildlife and the bees and everything. Permaculture is very important to me, and it's going to be an interesting little section of this series, I think. Then I'm going to go into the phytochemicals, and I will stutter and stammer because it's all the science, and I do know this stuff, but it nevertheless trips me up quite a lot. Just so that you know which constituents of each herb is the active constituents that are going to cause an effect. After that, I go to the magic, the folklore of the plants. We have to respect the fact that these plants have been around for a long, long while, and people all over the world have got very similar, actually, stories about each herb. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then we'll go in, at the very end, we'll go in and do a little tarot spread for the influence which each herb. Now, I started learning my herbalism from culpepper, and I would thoroughly recommend anybody who wants to study herbs to look at him. And he was very knowledgeable about the astrology of the herbs, which planet ruled which herb and that sort of thing. So I'll be going into that. And as I say, the tarot. So that's it. So that's what my Cathynan's Herbal ABC's basically going to look like. Hi everybody, we're rattling through our Cathynan Herbal ABC. We've got to S this week. S is for Sea Buckthorn. And the first thing, as usual, we're going to talk about is what you have to be aware of. So don't use Sea Buckthorn with any of the following prescription drugs: blood thinners, gastrointestinal medicines, treatment for heart arrhythmia, treatment for cancer, or treatment for autoimmune disease, because it will mess about with the desired effect of the pharmaceuticals. So you can store the berries by freezing them. So we're on to the preparation now. You can store the berries by freezing them, and they can then be used in smoothies or juices. The berries can also be pureed and then frozen. Tea can be made by adding 2 tablespoons of dried berries and leaves per cup of boiling water, and then infusing for 10 minutes. So it's perfectly acceptable to boil up the equivalent of 3 cups of water. Put 6 tablespoons of the dried berries in, and then infuse them, and then strain it, and then you can drink it for the rest of the day. You know, these berry teas are very tasty when they're cool. I sometimes prefer them. The berries can be cooked into muffins and cakes and all sorts of things. They're a really popular thing, sea buckthorn, and they're being hailed as the latest superfood, really. And you can make a bath powder by blitzing 2 cups of dried berries with 1 cup of oats, and then add 20 drops of an essential oil. For instance, sweet orange would be really nice. And then you can store it in an airtight jar ready to use in your baths. You can make an infused vinegar with 2 cups of the berries and enough organic apple cider vinegar to cover them. I'm saying this for best effect. Of course, it's always best to use organic cider apple vinegar, and it is quite available these days, and it's not as outrageously more expensive than ordinary vinegar either these days, so it's kind of worth it. It's so good for I would thoroughly recommend looking up apple cider vinegar, and it's catching on. A lot of people know that it's a very good thing. Push the berries through a sieve and then pat them dry. And it's important there's no water left in them because that could take the vinegar. Crush a few sprigs of rosemary and place them in a glass jar with a tight-fitting lid that is not metal. So one of those glass jars with the glass lid would be ideal. Metal would react badly with the vinegar. Place the berries in the jar, heat the vinegar gently, and then remove it from the heat. Let it cool a bit, and then pour it into the jar while it's still warm. And seal the lid, and save this in a dark place for 3 to 4 weeks. You've got to give it a shake every now and then strain it and bottle it. And if you bottle it in dark brown glass jars, or cover your jar, I mean, you can even, I've put a jar in a brown bag before just to stop the light in. If you put it in a dark cupboard, it's going to be fine anyway. It's just because if the sun gets to it, it will take away some of the good properties. You don't want to be losing your properties after all your efforts. Okay, actions of sea buckthorn. So I've written here brain, skin, heart and digestion. So that's a quick way of looking at it, but I'll go into it. Sea buckthorn, either ingested in tea or cakes or jam, or used topically, as in the bath powder you can prepare. Whichever way you use it, it's excellent skincare, especially for dermatitis or for wound healing. It's also anti-aging and antioxidant. It protects against heart disease, especially as it rids the body of LDLs, that's the low density lipoproteins that we don't want, the bad cholesterol that we don't want. An oil made from the pulp is helpful against dry eye syndrome. Sea buckthorn is helpful during menopause as it prevents thinning of the vaginal wall. It can protect organs from oxidation, causing, for example, so the oxidation may cause hypertension, pulmonary hypertension, which just means high blood pressure in the blood vessels that supply the lungs. And this can all be prevented by using sea buckthorn. Sea buckthorn also prevents inflammatory damage. It's digestive and it improves the appetite and bowel movements. Sea buckthorn also can protect the liver from cirrhosis, especially the seed oil, in the form of the seeds in the form of seed oil. It's been found beneficial for the brain, especially for cognition and dementia. We'll go on to recognise, forage and grow. Sea buckthorn is easily recognised. It's a large shrub or a small tree. It has tiny green male or female flowers in the spring. It's dioecious, which means that the male and female reproductive parts are on separate bushes. So if you want to grow sea buckthorn, you're going to need at least 2. Sea buckthorn is most easily recognisable from September through to winter, which is also harvest season, when its bright orange berries are highly visible among shimmering silvery leaves which are elongated and oval. The shrub is very thorny, which makes harvesting or foraging difficult but not impossible. It's a coastal plant and can be found in sandy soil, embankments or dunes, and often thrives in conditions that are too harsh for most plants. Sea buckthorn is best harvested just before the first frost. The many thorns and the dense thicket-like nature of the shrub make harvesting difficult, but you can snip branches with clippers and then freeze the complete little branch with the berries on. And after this, it would be quite easy to pull a fork down the branch to remove the berries. And you could actually do this on the bush if you left them till after the first frost, let them freeze, and then immediately take them, and they'll come off quite easily. It's important not to take too many branches so that the bush has a chance to recover. And some would say only harvest every second year. So you have to think of the shrub when you're taking. And this goes with anything really. I read a poem on one of my videos about never take the first, never take the last, always make sure there's some left. It makes sense. To grow sea buckthorn, it's quite difficult by seed, and maybe inadvisable and even illegal in some areas, such as in Ireland, because it's invasive. It can be much easier to propagate by cutting off the runners with as much root as possible, and then replant them. Water them well until they're established. After that, they can almost be neglected. Just check the law in your area. If you do grow sea buckthorn, control its suckering shoots or it will take over. Plant it in the full sun and well-drained soil, and it can tolerate poor soil, but it does benefit from a bit of organic matter every now and then, which will increase your fruit yield as well. Plants should be 6 to 10 feet apart so that the air can circulate, because they do grow very, very dense. They make an amazing hedge. Water well when the fruit are growing. Mulch around the bottom of them, and mulch around the base, and prune and cut back older branches and overgrown primary branches to allow the light and the air in, and so increase the crop and make the plant healthier. So that's the warning, is that they do grow very dense and they will invade if you don't keep an eye on these suckers and don't let the suckers come up, much like raspberries and quite a lot of those sort of plants. Okay, coming back with the permaculture. I do apologise when I'm cutting these videos off. I tend to jab the button as I'm saying the last word, and I should wait until after I've said the last word. Okay, so the permaculture of sea buckthorn. There are a few reasons to consider sea buckthorn as part of a permaculture garden. One is its resilience. It thrives even in quite poor soil and in areas prone to erosion, where their deep root stabilises the soil. So they did actually bring them in to stabilise the soil in a lot of coastal areas. And so that's a good place to look for them. Sea buckthorn is a nitrogen fixer, which leads to improved fertility and therefore regeneration and enrichment of the land. Its dense foliage provides habitat and food for wildlife, so it improves the biodiversity in your garden, and it contributes to a good ecosystem. And lastly, sea buckthorn is gaining a lot of fans as a superfood and therefore nutritionally quite precious. Okay, and I'll come back with this. And I'm well aware that having apologised for doing it, I just did it again. So this is Sea Buckthorn, the Phytochemicals. Sea Buckthorn contains vitamins A, B12, C, E and K. It contains lycodene and lycodene. I'm just checking that here's lycodene. I'm pretty sure it's lycodene and not lycopene, but I will check. No, it's lycopene. So good job I checked. Lycopene. So vitamins, I'll start again. Vitamins A, B12, C, E and K. Lycopene and minerals, potassium, calcium, magnesium and phosphorus. It also contains flavonoids and fatty acids. So vitamin A is found in cooked spinach, cooked chard, cooked carrots, cooked turnip, greens, baked sweet potato, baked butternut squash, cooked kale, raw red pepper, mango, cantaloupe, grapefruit, watermelon, papaya and romaine lettuce. Vitamin A is a fat-soluble essential nutrient and an organic compound. Vitamin A aids embryo development, immunity, healthy vision, especially reducing night blindness, and also age-related macular degeneration, which just means when your middle vision deteriorates as you get older. It lowers the risk of some cancers. It can help protect against acne and aids bone health. Vitamin B12, aka cobalamin, is an essential nutrient. It's available in yeast extracts such as Marmite or Vegemite, nutritional yeast flakes, aka nooch. Most people over the age of 50 need extra B12, whether you're a meat eater or not. What you have to realise is that B12 doesn't really come from meat. It comes from the earth, but you find it in meat because the animals aren't so picky about washing their vegetables and washing the things they eat. However, with these days, the sterile conditions that the animals are kept in, the B12 is no longer naturally in their bodies. So the farmers are having to give B12 supplements to the animals. So you might as well cut out the animal and just take it yourself. So to find it in sea buckthorn is very valuable. It's in a few things, and sea buckthorn's one of them. Another one is nori, you know, the seaweed that you make sushi out of. It's available in supermarkets. So that's another way of getting your B12. Vitamin C, aka absorbic acid, mainly found in fruit and veg, especially in citrus fruits, peppers, strawberries, blackcurrants, broccoli, Brussels sprouts and potatoes. Vitamin C is particularly high in sea buckthorn. It's a really good vitamin C food. It lowers the risk of heart disease, prevents iron deficiency anemia, boosts immunity and speeds healing, protects against the common cold and slows age-related macular degeneration, again this loss of middle vision. It protects brain health, fights cell damage and disease. Vitamin E is a group of soluble compounds which together are regarded as an essential nutrient. Mostly vitamin E is found in nuts, seeds, vegetable oils and leafy greens. It's an antioxidant, prevents free radicals, or it prevents them getting out of order, improves eye health, brightens the skin and defends skin cells from damage. It supports the brain, the heart and your immunity. Vitamin E is helpful in preventing skin disorders, maintaining cognition and improving lung function. And vitamin K is present in leafy greens, including kale, spinach, lettuce, also in Brussels sprouts, broccoli and cauliflower, also in vegetable oils, blueberries, figs and asparagus. It supports bone health and heart health, helps control bleeding after injury. It keeps bones strong and reduces the risk of osteoporosis. Vitamin K also helps prevent calcium build-up. Okay, so lycopene is an organic compound. It is both a tetraterpene and a carotene. It is mostly found in tomatoes, watermelons, grapefruit, etc. It can prevent cancer, support heart health and respiratory health, prevent diabetes, help skin health and oral health. It also may help prevent cataracts and reduce the risk of macular degeneration, age-related loss of midlife vision. Sea buckthorn contains plenty of vitamins, minerals, I should say, including potassium, found in bananas, apricots, oranges and avocados, dates, soybeans, quinoa, almonds, walnuts, pumpkins, beets, lentils, beans, carrots and broccoli. Potassium helps brain function, stabilises blood sugar, reduces muscle disorders, prevents cramps, helps bone health, stabilises blood pressure, strengthens muscles, boosts the metabolism and helps process nutrients. It reduces anxiety and stress, helps heart health and regulates fluid levels in the body. Calcium helps build strong bones and teeth, improves muscle movement, supports nerve communication, helps blood clotting and helps release hormones. It is found in rhubarb, leafy greens, beans and lentils, seeds, almonds and amaranth. Magnesium is found in dark chocolate, avocado, nuts, legumes, tofu, seeds, whole grains. Magnesium improves mood and improves sleep and exercise. It helps regulate blood sugar and brain function and helps counteract depression. Phosphorus is found in sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds, nuts, whole grains and legumes, especially lentils. Phosphorus detoxifies the kidneys, strengthens bones and teeth, boosts digestion, reduces weakness and prevents fatigue. It supports cognitive development, stimulates protein metabolism. It boosts cell repair and ensures a hormonal balance. It promotes metabolism and thus improves energy extraction. And it facilitates nutrient uptake. Sea buckthorn also contains flavonoids, which are antioxidant, anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer. They relieve pain and are anti-diabetic, anti-allergy and antiviral. And also present are fatty acids, also found in seaweeds, chia seeds, edamame, kidney beans and soybean oil and hemp seeds. Okay, and we will come back with the plant magic. Okay, Hippophyramnoides, which is sea buckthorn's Latin name, means shining horses. And sea buckthorn was part of a horse's diet and said to keep their coats shiny. It was said to be the main diet of Pegasus and gave him wings to fly. Also, so better than Red Bull, the sea buckthorn. Also, Genghis Khan and his army valued these berries and would eat them after battles to restore their strength. It's said also to protect against witchcraft, demons and headaches. The berries were known as miracle berries or holy berries, and Cleopatra famously used the oil for her skin. And I found nothing really as regards the tarot, so we're just going to wing it and see what happens. Okay, come back and do the tarot reading. Okay, so we're going to look now at the tarot and the oracle about sea buckthorn. And I'm going to start by taking a couple of cards from Adriana Ayala's Herbal Astrology Pocket Oracle. So not strictly speaking tarot. And I've shuffled these cards a good bit already. So I'm just going to put them in 3 piles and pick them up again. and ask for any clarification about the sea buckthorn that helped Pegasus fly and is regarded as a superfood. Well, has long been regarded by a superfood, restoring the strength of Genghis Khan's guys after battle, and looking after us in modern days as well. It's an amazing, quite nasty, prickly bush that you can forage these amazing berries from, and loads of recipes on the internet. I've got a couple of cards here. Oh, 3 actually. Hibiscus is one of my favourites. So I use hibiscus in my tea quite regularly. Put it where you can see it. And the nettle. 3 of my favourites. The nettle is always a favourite. Comfrey. So 2 of these, the nettle and the comfrey, really associated with high iron content, strength. Let's see what the Herbal Astrology book has to say. And we'll go for hibiscus first, because that was the first one I saw. So hibiscus is joy, nectar, grace, sensuality, beauty, divine feminine, nurturing, creativity and abundance. Astrological ruler Venus and Pluto. In ancient Egypt, hibiscus tea, or carcade, was commonly used to lower body temperature as a diuretic and to treat heart and nerve diseases. In Africa, it was used as a gastrointestinal healer, as it helped with constipation and liver support. In Hindu mythology, hibiscus is closely associated with the goddess Kali, the dark goddess of death, time and change. Red hibiscus flowers are often presented as offerings to Kali, representing divine consciousness. In Mexico and Central America, it's called Flor de Jamaica and has been used to make healing juices for hundreds of years. Primarily used as a tea and a poultice, hibiscus has been used in beauty rituals, particularly as a face wash, as it nourishes and tightens the skin. Central American midwives have used it during birth and post-birth to tighten the uterus and assist with excess bleeding. Due to its astringent properties, the pulp of the leaves helps heal wounds and incisions. Hibiscus, ruled by Venus, embodies the power of the divine feminine, grace, beauty, creativity and harmony. Venusian herbs are those that turn the cardiovascular system, reproductive system, the blood, kidneys, thyroid and parathyroid. Hibiscus dissolves blockages in the first and second energetic centres, opening the channels at the base of the spine, reproductive centres and lower back. And the guidance: like hibiscus, you emanate the essence of Venusian grace. You hold and cradle life. You are the nurturer. Your presence brings renewal and joy to others. Express your creativity to keep attracting this colourful energy back to you. Like the hummingbird, you are a creature of nectar, a conduit of divine love and joy. Yeah, lovely. And the nettle is number 21, and it's about action. So, the nettle talks about direct action, a fierce protector, leadership, strength, power in pursuit of truth and dominance. Nettle perfectly embodies Mars's attributes. When touched, its aggressive leaves cause irritation, stimulation, and increased blood circulation. Nettle is rich in iron, selenium, magnesium, chlorophyll, calcium, silica, and vitamins A, C, E, and K. It's quite similar, actually, to the sea buckthorn. While nettle is not necessarily a healing plant, it is stimulating. Its sting feels hot at the touch. and yet it helps to modulate inflammation throughout the body. It's used to treat pain from arthritis in ancient Egypt. People would whack themselves with bundles of nettles to treat rheumatism, lethargy, and cholera. It's thought that nettles cause the body to release an antihistamine response that reduces inflammation and swelling, alleviating pain related to rheumatism and arthritis. The famous ancient Greek physician Hippocrates used nettles in over 60 different remedies. Throughout the Middle Ages, nettles were used to treat shingles, sinus ailments, and constipation. In Norse myth, nettles are associated with Thor, the god of thunder, and with Loki, the trickster god, whose magical fishing net was made from nettles. Thick strands of nettles signal there are fairy dwellings close by in Celtic folklore, and the nettle's sting wards off fairy mischief, black magic and sorcery. The Anglo-Saxons held 9 herbs as the most sacred, and their 9 herbs charm, recorded in the 10th century, featured nettles as a protective ally against elf shot, a mysterious pain in humans or animals caused by the arrows of the jealous elves. Nettles also protected against flying venom, a form of black magic believed at the time to be one of the primary causes of illness. So the guidance is Warrior Mars is a representation of our will to survive, protect, pursue, and act. Physically, the elemental fire within nettle activates to purify and strengthen. Emotionally and mentally, it directs ambition, sharpens intellect, and ignites leadership. On a spiritual level, nettle has the power of snake medicine, granting us the power of fire to transmute and protect. Nettle medicine teaches you on a personal level to be strong, protective, and able to handle life in its complexity. You meet difficulties with patience and confidence. This allows for emotional maturity and avoids frustration. Don't withdraw your energy in the face of discomfort. If you have drawn this card today, there is a need within you to transmute some action, thought, or desire. Release the outer skin of your present identity and draw upon the powers of fire to lead and act. Wonderful. And comfrey is completion. So in the upright, comfrey is about achievement, completion of cycle, success, closure, completion of long journey, wholeness and mending. This is a bit like Genghis Khan after his battles, and it's ruled by Saturn. Comfrey, also known as bone set or knit bone, has been cultivated for its healing properties since 400 BC. It was used by the ancient Greeks, Romans, Celts, and many more to heal broken bones, bind wounds, and stop heavy bleeding. Symphytum comes from the Greek word sympho, meaning to grow together, and phyton, meaning plant. Comfrey comes from the Latin confirmare, which also means to grow together. The Greek historian Herodotus recommended comfrey to stop severe bleeding internally and externally. Later, Greeks used it to heal lung problems. Farmers value comfrey. It was grown as a food for people and livestock and produced valuable fertiliser for the garden. The plant was also used as a food during the Irish potato famine in the 1840s, though it's recommended not to eat too much of it because of its impact on the liver. Ruled by Saturn again, comfrey promotes the healing of the skin and musculoskeletal system. The roots and leaves stimulate cell proliferation and promote bone and wound healing. Saturnian herbs are those said to relieve the body and mind from karma, assisting with shielding, endurance, restoration and repair. Saturn grants wisdom through challenges. Like Saturn, comfrey heals the general musculoskeletal system. The guidance is comfrey represents wholeness, completion and closure of a great cycle. The wreath symbolises a cycle containing the energy of the past, present and future, hovering. Can't see it, sorry. I'll move it over so you can see it. Here we go. Hovering over the clouds to note how the foundation of all cycles are grounded in mystery. Comfrey majestically grows in the centre, representing the axis mundi, the sacred heart, the sacred will that pulses the great mystery. Comfrey has appeared today to signal that a great cycle is nearing completion. Stay aligned as you continue to prune and heal the garden of the self. Look closely into repeated patterns, persons, or situations that keep showing up in your life. Draw upon Comfrey's power to mend and find wholeness in lessons and patterns that need closure. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. And we're coming back next week with toad flax. T is for toad flax. Okay, bye.